Good morning. Today we will discuss about the intrusive igneous bodies. Now, igneous rocks are those rocks which are formed from the cooling and crystallization of a originally hot molten material known as magma. The cooled igneous bodies occurs in nature in a variety of shapes and forms, and in which form they will be forming is depending on the certain factors, like the first one is the structural disposition of the country rock, the viscosity of the magma, composition of the magma, the environment in which the injection of the magma takes place. On the basis of these factors, the shape of the igneous mass is forming. Now, the igneous rock bodies can be divided into two types, as extrusive igneous bodies and intrusive igneous bodies. Extrusive igneous bodies, so as the term implies, extrusive igneous bodies are those that are formed at the surface of the earth crust, and that is known as extrusive igneous bodies. Intrusive igneous bodies are those which are formed at the depth, certain level of depth at the earth crust is known as intrusive igneous bodies. Our topic is intrusive igneous bodies. These intrusive igneous bodies can be divided into two types, as concordant igneous bodies and discordant igneous bodies. So, we will be discussing about these two types of intrusive igneous body in this section. First of all, what is this concordant igneous bodies? Concordant igneous bodies are those igneous bodies with which always lies in between the rock beds, and they do not show the transcretive relation to the rocks in which they are invading. Here, so this is a different stratus that is present in the crustal rocks. Into these crustal rocks, magma comes into contact. When magma comes in contact with this, they do not cut across the strata, and while there will always be runs, the magma always runs parallel to the rock stratas, and that type of intrusive bodies are known as concordant bodies. There are different types of concordant bodies are there. For example, sill, phacolith, laccolith and lopolith are the different types of concordant intrusive igneous bodies. Now, we will discuss about the discordant bodies. Discordant bodies are those which is just opposite of the concordant bodies. In the case of concordant bodies, we have seen they never cut across the rock strata, but in the case of discordant bodies, they will cut across the rock strata that is overlying in between them. Suppose this is the overlying rock stratas. This is the magma chamber. So, what happens is that if it is a discordant igneous bodies, they will always cut across the overlying stratas, and the different types of discordant igneous bodies include dikes, batholiths, stock and bows, volcanic plug, and the last one, that is diatremes. So, these are the important type of, on the whole we can say these are the important type of intrusive igneous bodies. Now, we will detailedly go for each types. This is the diagram which simply shows which are the concordant and the discordant bodies. As you can see it here, the bodies which runs parallel to it are known as concordant igneous bodies, and those which cut across are known as this discordant igneous bodies. You can see some of the various types of intrusive igneous bodies in this diagram. First, we will discuss about the concordant igneous bodies, and in that first we will go through sill. A sill can be defined as a sheath like igneous body which runs parallel to the bedding plane of the pre-existing strata. So, if this is the pre-existing rock, then what happens is that the sill always runs parallel to the pre-existing strata, and there is no, in all the time they cannot be always be horizontal. These sill can be inclined also. That does not mean they will cut across the overlying strata. In some cases, if the overlying strata is inclined, then sill must go through, sill will be always be flowing parallel to that strata. That can be inclined or it can be horizontal also. It is always been dependent upon the attitude of the strata in which the sill is intruded. Now, the thickness of the sill varies, but most of the time they are always thin. And the composition of the sill, since they are traveling in a larger distance, they need high mobile magmas are the compositions. Mobile magma means basaltic magmas are more mobile than granitic magmas, and hence the composition of the sill will always be basaltic in nature. They are having low viscosity in nature also. Now, the classification of sill. Sills can be classified into three types. That is, first one is sill can be classified into three types. The first one is simple sill, then we have multiple sill, and we have composite sill. Simple sill means there is only one body of array will be of sill will be traveling into the overlying strata. But in the case of multiple sill, we are having the sill which is having more than one emplacement, which is having different in composition, that is known as multiple sill. While in the case of composite sill, we are having more than one emplacement but having the same composition, that is composite sill. This is the figure which shows the emplacement of the sill, as you can see it here, that runs almost parallel to the strata, overlying strata. This is one of the famous Bamborough Castle of Northumbria. Here you can see that this whole castle is always situated on the top of a sill, that is a dolerite sill is passing through that. Now we will discuss about the next important concordant body, that is faccoliths. Faccoliths are crescent shaped intrusive igneous bodies. These faccoliths generally occurring at the crust and the trough of a folded strata. And why they are occurring at the crust and trough of a folded strata? Because this is a region where there is minimum stress. When these faccoliths are occurring in the anticlines, they are doubly convex upwards, and when they are occurring at the syncline, they are doubly convex downwards. This is a typical folded strata. In this folded strata, what happens? The faccoliths are always seen at the crust and trough of a folded strata. Now we are going to move to the next one, that is lopolith. Lopoliths can be defined as they are saucer shaped concordant igneous bodies which is bent downwards like a basin, and the diameter is usually 10 to 20 times than its thickness. And the lopoliths are, the famous important lopolith is the Bushveld igneous complex of South Africa. It is a lopolith structure. They are always been the saucer shaped structure. They are one of the important concordant igneous bodies. As you can see it here, this is the lopolith. They are saucer shaped structure is the lopolith. The next important one is laccolith. Laccolith is the next important concordant intrusive bodies. Laccolith can be defined as mushroom shaped igneous bodies which causes the overlying beds to arch in the form of a dome, and it has a flat base and a domed top. This is, suppose this is the magma chamber. This is the overlying strata. Into that overlying strata, what happens? This magma moves upwards, and this magma is highly viscous in nature, generally granitic in composition, and due to that they cannot cut across the overlying strata. So, what happens is that this magma will push us they will push this overlying strata into a dome shaped manner, and this dome shaped basin is known as laccolith, and they won't cut across it, but they will create an overlying folded structure in that. Now, here in some cases, as the viscosity increases, some of the laccolith which will partially cut across the overlying strata, and they will change its shape from the mushroom shape into a cylindrical shape, and that structure is known as bismuth. So, bismuth is some of the varieties of laccolith, we can call it like that. So, they are formed as a result of partial breaking of the overlying stratas of a laccolith, and that is a cylindrical in nature, and that structure is known as bismuth. Here you can see the important diagram representing the figure representing the laccolith. As you can see, the dome shaped basin is there, which is the basin is almost flat and the upper surface is dome shaped, and it won't always cut across the stratas. It always runs parallel within that. Now, the next one is bismuth. As I mentioned earlier, bismuth are cylindrically shaped body. As you can see it in this figure, they partially cut across the overlying rocks. They won't fully cut across the rocks. If they are fully cut across, we call it as a discordant bodies, but here they are concordant bodies because they are not fully cut across, but partially they are cutting the overlying stratas. This is bismuth. So, these are the important concordant igneous bodies as we have seen it here, that is sill, we have seen phacolith, we have seen lopolith, laccolith, and the varieties of laccolith, that is lopolith, that is bismuth. Now, we are going to discuss about the discordant bodies. Now, the important discordant body is dikes. So, dikes can be defined as they are the discordant intrusive igneous bodies. They will cut across the bedding plane of the strata which they will intrude out, and they can be steeply inclined or they can be sheet like bodies. Their lateral dimension is very extensive, and the thickness varies from an inch to hundreds of meters. Their thickness increases. And how these joints can be emplaced on the surface? Joints will always move towards the fractures, joints, and the weak planes which is present at the interior. Through that, the joints will be moved to the surface. And the joints can be classified on two bases. The first one is on the basis of its composition, and the next one is on the basis of its disposition. So, dikes can be classified into two ways. The first one is on the basis of its composition, and the second one is on the basis of its disposition. And here, on the basis of composition, dikes can be of three types. We have simple dike, we have multiple type, and we have composite type. Simple dike means which is having the same composition. In the case of multiple dike, we are having the different composition and the emplacement will always be different. But in the case of composite dikes, we are having the same composition but different emplacements are there. So, this is the classification of dike which is based on its composition. Now, on the basis of disposition, we can again divide the dikes into three types. The first one is ring dike. The second one is radiating dike. The third one is arcuate dike. Now, ring dikes are those dikes where numerous dikes will be formed in the same direction, and when we look at the outcrops will give the appearance of a ring, and that type of dike is known as ring dikes. So, when we are looking in the aerial view, we can see different types of dikes are emblazing into the surface. So, it looks like a ring, that way it is named as ring dike. In the case of radiating dike, when we are looking in the aerial view, what happens is that all the dikes are radiating from a common point, and that type is known as radiating dike. Now, the third one is the arcuate dike. The arcuate dike is also otherwise known as cone sheets. This cone sheets means here when we look into the outcrop, these dikes will always be dipping at a particular angle, and that type of an dike is known as arcuate dike, which will always have some arcuate outcrop pattern also. Now, this is the figure which will help us to identify what is this arcuate dike and the ring dike. As you can see it in this figure, the cone sheet or the arcuate dike is shown here. As you can see, there is a dipping. The dikes are always be dipping at a particular angle, and in the ring dike we can see in the outcrop pattern we can see the appearance is like a ring. So, these are the figures which will help to identify the arcuate dike and ring dike, and there in the other dike figures will show how the dike has been emblazed into the earth crust. You can see there is inclined, there is horizontal, and there is perpendicular, transgressive. 3 types of dikes are also there. So, the next important intrusive igneous bodies, apart from the it is a discordant igneous body, it is one of the most important type of discordant intrusive body, that is batholith. So, batholith can be defined as they are the large discordant intrusive igneous bodies which have a transgressive relation with the country rock, and they have formed by the massive innovation of hot magma into the country rock, and such a large intrusion can melt even a metamorphic most rocks. Okay. Cooling of the magma can take thousands of years. The dimension is always greater than 100 square kilometers in area, and its depth should not be traceable, and the surface of the batholith is always circular or oval. Suppose this is the magma chamber and this is the earth surface, and here you can see this magma will cut across all the stratas here, and spread over hundreds of square kilometers, and that type of an discordant intrusive body is known as batholiths. So, this diagram will give you an idea about how much area that a batholith can travel. That is why we call it as it is one of the largest intrusive discordant body. So, these hillocks are generally batholiths. It can even cover an entire country on an entire continent. That is the size of this batholith. Now, the next discordant intrusive body is stock and boss. Stock and boss. These two intrusive bodies are related to batholith. A stock can be defined as they are the smaller in size, but they are usually having 10 to 20 kilometers, but they can be defined as a batholith which is having a circular outcrop pattern. So, whenever a batholith which is having a circular outcrop pattern, and if the area of extension is very low, we call that batholith as stock, and within that stock we have circular outcrop pattern. Within the stock we call them as boss. So, batholith and stock and boss are almost correlated. Aerial extension, if the aerial extension is very low, we called that batholith as stock, and if that stock have circular outcrop pattern, we call that stock as boss. Here in this figure you can see that the batholith and the stock. As you can see, the batholith which is at the greater depth, when it comes to the surface its area has been reduced out. So, we called that batholith as stock, and on the surface we can see this stock having circular outcrop pattern. So, on the surface we called this stock as boss. So, these three can be defined from this figure. Now, we move to the next important discordant body, that is volcanic neck or volcanic plugs. This can be defined as they are cylindrical conduits. These volcanic plugs or volcanic necks are cylindrical conduits, and into which what happens is that magma comes in and they will be consolidated, and while seeing that we will sometimes we get wrong information about whether this is an ancient volcano like that, but it is a volcanic neck composed of crystalline rocks. Why we are having crystalline rock? Because magma is intruding into it, they will be consolidated and form the crystalline rocks. So, this is volcanic neck. It is a discordant body because it will always cutting across the overlying stratas. Now, we are going to discuss about the last discordant intrusive body, that is diatreme. Diatreme can be defined as you can see it in this figure, they are carrot shaped intrusive body which are having circular or elliptical in cross sections, having 1 to 2 kilometers depth, and they are steeply dipping and they will be tapering downwards and terminating into their root zones. As you can see, why we are terming it as discordant body, because it will cut across all the rock sections that is in the overlying stratas. So, these are the important discordant igneous body. We have seen sill, batholith, stock and boss, volcanic plugs and diatremes. So, with the concordant and the discordant intrusive bodies, this whole is coming under intrusive igneous bodies. So, we can summarize in this manner that intrusive igneous bodies are those bodies that are forming at a greater depth on the earth's surface, and their shape is always been related to various factors like their composition, their viscosity and the structural characteristics of the rock in which they are intruding into it, and the environment in which they are intruding into it. Now, we have seen igneous bodies are of two types. We have extrusive igneous bodies and the intrusive igneous bodies are there. In the intrusive igneous bodies, two types are there, concordant and discordant. Concordant are those intrusive igneous bodies which are always run parallel to their bedding, and discordant igneous bodies are those which will cut across the overlying bed. We have seen different types of concordant like sill, laccolith, lopolith, phacolith are the different types of concordant intrusive bodies, and we have seen the discordant intrusive bodies like sill, batholith, stock and boss, volcanic plugs and volcanic cones, and the last one is diatreme. And the studies about these intrusive igneous bodies will give an idea about what are the different processes that is happening inside the earth crust, which helps us to study about more about the pressure temperature conditions and the process and the composition of the magma into which these all things are happening. Thank you.